strength where I've been weakened. Forever he'll reign. Come on, say, my God is awesome. He can move mountains. Keep me in the valley. Hide me from the rain. My God is awesome. He heals me when I'm broken.
Hey guys, so unfortunately, we have really sad news that a regional jet just collided with a Blackhawk helicopter, military helicopter, over the Potomac, and they have search and rescue out. It's, it's devastating, and there's obviously multiple casualties. And by the grace of God, my dad was coming through, and he literally, for some reason, missed like the way he was going and ended up going towards Baltimore and didn't go that way. Thank God, because you never know what's gonna fly out the sky when things like that happen, because the helicopter was trying to come into Reagan, but it's just so sad. I just pray for these people's family. Like, I can't imagine how like they must be feeling right now. My brother, he's near like literally right across from that airport. So I'm just like praying for everyone who's near there, and just like I know like their hearts are so heavy right now, and it's just insane. Like, these poor people. So I'm gonna go ahead and show the news article because it's insane. Like, I'm so devastated for these people, for my community, for everyone involved. And I just pray that God like blesses their family and gives their family some sort of peace in all this.
Reagan National Airport there in D.C. You're looking at the Potomac and you're looking at a response, a massive response to this incident. I want to go to aviation expert right now, Steve Ganyard. Steve, talk to us about what you know right now.
Phil, the White House has confirmed that a U.S. Army H-60 Blackhawk helicopter collided with this regional jet. The regional jet was on approach to runway 33 at Reagan. So if you've been to DCA before, you know that there are multiple runways, and most of the time when you land on a larger aircraft, you're landing on the long runway, which is almost north-south. But there are a couple of shorter runways that are used for the smaller regional jets. Runway 33 is one of those. So if you are at Reagan National and you are on runway 33, you would sort of be pointing up towards Northwest D.C., towards National Cathedral, towards the Kennedy Center. So apparently coming in over the Potomac on a final approach, for some reason, the Army helicopter was in a place where it shouldn't have been, and that is anywhere near an approach corridor at Reagan Airport. So a couple of things to think about here. As you know, Phil, anybody that's been to Washington, D.C. understands that there are helicopters flying around all the time. Military helicopters, park police helicopters, security helicopters, private helicopters, but they're all supposed to stay down low. So if you've ever come in over the bridges that connect Washington with Virginia, you know that there are always helicopters flying quite low because they are staying below the airplanes that are landing at Reagan. So why this Army helicopter was there, why this collision occurred, is something that the investigators will have to unearth here over the coming weeks as they figure out what caused this tragedy.
Steve, we know that air traffic control is in contact with the airplanes that are coming in to an airport. What's the contact like with helicopters, and in this case, especially a military helicopter?
Yeah, the transponder of the helicopter should have been on, but there are what they call visual flight rules, where you don't have to be in radar contact. And those are sort of corridors that go down the Potomac and around Washington, D.C. And so there are places where you can fly and not be in positive control, meaning that you're talking to an air traffic controller. The transponder on the helicopter should have always been on. Sometimes when they're really low, that transponder, because the radar doesn't see, the radar is looking up like this, it may not see that transponder. And also that the air traffic controller is just assuming that that helicopter is going to stay within the rules and stay below the flight path coming in this case, to runway 33. So why that wasn't the case, Why that helicopter was up where it shouldn't have been is the big question. But it does seem to be that that's what led to this tragedy tonight.
And Steve, you're talking about that transponder. Is there any way that the pilots of that plane or the pilots of the helicopter would have had any kind of notice that this was about to happen? You're saying the transponder wouldn't be up on the helicopter. How about the plane?
No, and Phil, remember these are small aircraft, and a helicopter doesn't have air-to-air radar. It's not like a fighter jet that would see other traffic out there. It's not like a commercial airliner that has this system called TCAS. You remember that we covered a story recently in Phoenix where two aircraft came very close to each other on final going into Phoenix, but the onboard system told them to move away from each other. You don't have that sophisticated system within a military helicopter like the H-60, even though you would have it on the regional jet. So why the system didn't pick up the Army helicopter, whether it was too low, whatever the reason, the crew in the regional jet was obviously preoccupied. It's night. You're coming in over water, so you have to be sort of on instruments, but the weather here tonight in D.C. is good, so it's probably a visual approach. It's very disconcerting to fly over water because you have no sense of depth perception. So the crew was probably quite busy. They're landing on a crossing runway at night, trying to pick up the visual cues, and they may not ever have seen a helicopter. I can tell you that in my flying career, many times I almost had mid-airs with helicopters because you just don't see them at night unless you have night vision goggles. And in this case, obviously the regional airliner did not.
Steve, just quickly before we bring Sam Sweeney in, this H-60 Blackhawk, what do you know about it? How many people, military personnel, can be on it?
Usually, Phil, you're going to have two pilots and at least one crew chief. You can have upwards of 9, 12 people on board. But generally, when they fly around D.C., they're probably out doing training. Maybe they were doing some sort of night training, getting night minimums. But we just don't know whether this was a training mission, whether they were transporting people. Where were they going? Were they coming from some place within Washington and going back to a base, or were they just transiting the area? All these are questions yet to be determined.
All right, and we have a lot of questions about this regional jet that was involved as well. I want to bring in transportation reporter Sam Sweeney. Sam, what do we know about this regional jet?
So the plane was coming in from Wichita, Kansas. As Steve said, it was on final approach when this collision happened, and we're getting video from the nearby Kennedy Center. This is going to be a major incident. This was an MH-60 helicopter. Typically, these are used for transporting VIP people around the D.C. area, and there are a lot of these helicopters constantly flying. And the runway, the main runway at Reagan National, is the single busiest runway in the country. For years, lawmakers and leaders here in the area have been talking about how busy this is and freeing up some space. You know, it is a very tightly controlled airport, limited space, and the planes come in.
As you see, like, this is insane. Obviously, the helicopter, it wasn't supposed to be there, but I I still pray for the person who was flying the helicopter, everyone involved. It's such a tragedy. And if they were being trained, it's like they're new to it too. Like I don't it's just an overall tragedy. God bless them. Pray over your families. I literally have been praying over my dad and my entire family. And I feel like it's just insane that my dad was about to go that way and then decided, like, he ended up taking the exit towards Baltimore and not getting involved in all that. And I'm just grateful for that. I hope nobody on the road was hurt. I hope no debris flew out and hit anybody on the road. I hope there are survivors. I pray there are survivors. I know it's like it's cold in the DMV right now, but it's like it feels good today and the weather feels good today, but the water temperature is probably very cold because it has been freezing. We had like an Arctic front, and if there is any chance that there are survivors, that they can find them as soon as possible. I pray that, you know, our safety workers are safe themselves and we don't have any other casualties. But God bless you all. This is insane.
Strength where I've been weak, forever he'll reign. Come on, say my God is awesome. He can move mountains. Keep me in the valley. Hide me from the rain. My God is awesome. He heals me when I'm broken.